This is a letter I wrote to Thunder Bay Council. Dear Council, I am writing to you in regards to a situation that happened to me on June 30th. I was at City Hall trying to catch the last James bus to get home, but it was one of the newer ones with a rear-facing wheelchair access bay, bus number 176 at 11:40. I cannot ride backwards due to medical issues. I have a certificate from my doctor stating that I cannot ride backwards in any situation. I was denied service due to my disability, despite the fact that I have a monthly bus pass for which I had paid $63.50. The driver and controller both told me that I could ride the Main Line West Fort and walk 6 blocks, or the airport and cross Arthur Street at night in my chair, or just walk home. When I told them I can't, I was told that I was being unreasonable and putting them in an unreasonable situation. The driver actually said that I shouldn't have stayed out this late. That is none of his business. Would he say that to an able-bodied customer? Certainly not. They were the ones being unreasonable, not me. Why should I risk neurological injury, a seizure, or a back and neck injury just to please them? Crossing Arthur Street is dangerous when there's no crosswalk, and the police told me not to cross there. I have a vision disability, and they are concerned that I'll get hit. As for walking home along Walsh Street at night for 6 blocks, that is not something I would do either. Some of those crosswalks are in bad shape, and some of the curb cuts are still pretty rough. I cannot see which ones are safe, especially at night. Why is it okay for transit to treat me and other people who have a disability like a second-class citizen? I cannot ride lift. The suspension is poor, and I injure my back, neck, and hips. I actually had a big bruise on my hip and dislocated it when we hit a pothole that I barely even notice on city transit buses. Whenever I ride, even just a short distance, I have to take painkillers. My doctor advised me only to use Lyft as a very last resort. He's had other patients who have told him how bumpy a ride they get on the Lyft vans. I ride the regular bus from one end of town to the other and am fine. In over 20 years, the only time I had to take pain meds when I rode the bus was when I rode it backwards on the new buses. I'm not the only person who has had this issue. I've spoken with many others who say their necks hurt and they are dizzy when they ride those buses backwards. This is the final year I will do any volunteer work for the city. If I cannot be sure that I'll have a ride home, This is the final year that I will do any volunteer work for the city. If I cannot be sure that I'll have a ride that I can trust to get to my job and home again, it's not worth it. Why am I doing so much for a city that treats me like a second-class citizen? Perhaps a first-class citizen can take over. That's an able-bodied person. It's got to the point where I've actually advised other people who have a disability not to move here unless they have their own vehicle, and I suggested that they move elsewhere if they want equal access to playgrounds, facilities, etc. Please be advised that I am going to the Human Rights Commission to file a suit against the City of Thunder Bay and Thunder Bay Transit for denial of service due to my disability. I'm sorry it has come to this, but nothing else is working. Please note the controller did find me a ride this time. Last time I had to walk home from Bay and Algoma all the way to Kingsway. I had to walk alone in the dark from coffee shop to charge my chair. Now, Toronto TTC has similar buses to ours. When I was in Toronto, the TTC had no problem with me riding forwards in those same buses as long as I had a note from my doctor stating that for medical reasons I cannot ride backwards. If they don't have a problem with it, why does Thunder Bay? In April, I had a problem again with the rear-facing wheelchair access bays. The final bus came along to the Italian Cultural Center. I went to catch it, and it was the wrong bus for me. So I asked the driver if I could please ride forward-facing on there, if he could call his boss. He said he didn't have time, and it was a choice that I didn't ride forwards. And that was just too bad. He didn't have time. He shut the doors and took off. So there I was with no way of getting home. I went from donut shop to donut shop, walking home at night by myself. And every time I'd go to a donut shop, I'd charge my chair up. And finally, there was too much space between the donut shops, and I had no way of getting home. So I phoned for a cab, and they were going to be over an hour, and I was worried. So I phoned for the fire service or police to come sit with me because I was worried. And the fire department came by and they sat down with me. They were talking with me. They were really nice people. And they said that it was really unsafe for me to be left like that by myself in the dark at night. But standing there with 5 firefighters made me feel a lot safer, because what was going to happen with 5 big, huge guys standing there with me. So thank you to the fire service for protecting me, but that's not part of their job. They shouldn't have to do that. They were really nice about it, and I'm very grateful for that. Anytime my chair has broke down or needed charging, the fire department's been right there helping me out. So they're a pretty good group of people.